JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. September 23rd, 2024. Hope everyone had a great weekend. It's about 8:56 here. Just going to talk really quick about the market, some names I'm looking at, some of the events this week, and go from there. But we got the Fed out of the way last week. This week we get PCE data on Friday, which I don't think is going to do too much for markets. And then we get Fed speak. So today is one of the governors, I guess Bostic, I forget how to pronounce his name, but the big one will be, I guess her name's Bowman. She has a speech tomorrow and also on Thursday, but she was the lone dissenter in this Fed cut vote. So I don't think there's been, so I forget where I read it. There hasn't been a dissenter on a Fed decision since like 2005. I don't know what that means, but certainly probably going to be the headline this week. And also, Fed Chair Powell speaks Thursday at the 10th annual Treasury market meeting. Something I forget what the name of that is called, but he has prepared remarks. It looks like at 9:20. It says pre-recorded video, so I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if that's going to move markets too much, but certainly some things to be aware of. But if you take a look at a SPY on Friday, some consolidation. We had the big triple witching, or 5.1 trillion in notional value of options expiring, and then you had some rebalancing with Apple, Nvidia, Dell being added to the S&P. So there were some swings, especially right at the end of the day. It was a pretty impressive. Apple rallied to highs, and then within 5 minutes to the close, it reversed all those gains. Uh, we'll see how this week plays out. We have 6 more trading sessions to the end of the quarter, end of the month, and then we start October. September is historically a weak performing month. So to get out of September with a solid weekly gain probably bodes well for the rest of the year. So looking at the SPY 5, we came down to 5, was it 565 or so on Friday? So that will certainly be some support. And then watching the upper Bollinger Band, 571 and change for possible resistance if market rallies. A little disappointing. Small caps actually underperformed on Friday, but still were the best performing index last week. So it was down 1% on Friday. Still hoping with both hands that the small caps can start to outperform to end the year. So that's overall market. Not much in the way of catalysts. And earnings season, I believe it's October 11th, is the kickoff of the banks, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Citigroup. And then earnings season will kick off in earnest and will certainly be interesting. But for now, it seems, I wouldn't call it a quiet period, but heading into that, there's not much besides the PCE data and then the September jobs report, which we'll get next week. Uh, Not next week. Yeah, next week, right? Yeah, sorry, I'm having brain fart. All right, so now individual names. First, really quick about Visa. You look at the daily chart on Visa, it almost looked like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday it tumbled, but it was really only down like 1% on the week. So it just gave back some of Monday and Tuesday's gains, and then Friday pretty much closed flat. When I added the October speculative puts, I put it almost like as a double whammy that it's a hedge if the market tumbles a little bit or find some profit takers, and it's also the premise that the August rally it's going to sell off some of that as the third party payment processing landscape continues to get more crowded with competitors. So I'll continue to look for opportunities to trade that one for downside into the end of the year. I 275 or so. That's I think is the short term target. If it breaks under 280 today, I might look for some other spec puts. So now into some other names, and I mentioned it on the watch list for like the last 2 weeks that once VKTX broke 70, I thought that was kind of like the breaking point where the shorts would start to maybe cave in a little bit. Sure enough, was it due? I waited till my September options expire on Friday to finally break $70. I went and got some October strikes. You had NVO reporting its phase 2A data on their CB1 inverse agnostic, however you pronounce that. So it's kind of like a different weight loss drug, but it was oral, but it came in worse than expected, and adverse effects was a concern. So when you had VKTX reporting their data, and theirs wasn't the oral, but they talked about on their earnings call, they're going straight to phase 3. This has to go to phase 2B now. So, and that's not going to start till 2025. So all that does is pushes the runway further out, where VKTX's drug, their runway gets closer. And it's the oral version. So that bodes well for a name like Terns Pharmaceuticals, and VKTX obviously has their oral solution as well. I think if it breaks over 75, I'll get some more strikes, but hopefully that's the kick it needed. It holds 70 today and just continues to go to the upside. Really like VKTX. TERN rallied on the news as well, all the way up to 1070 again. I think it hit 1060. maybe hit 1059, 1069. I'm having trouble seeing on the screen. But then a reverse course, close in the red again, barely, just almost flat. Still like this one. If it holds 10 bucks, 1050, and then breaks finally over that 1070 hand, I'll look for more strikes. But that 1070 looks like oil and vinegar. The stock doesn't like to get to that level. It looks like there's lots of supply there. Once that breaks, off to the races. That's turns. So another name I'm just adding to the watch list, and it's one I've watched over the last couple of years, well, last couple of months, especially since the start of the year when it had this huge gap up. But that's Corbis Pharmaceuticals. I think that's how you pronounce it. Ticker CRBP. The stock got absolutely pummeled, down 52% on Friday on the NVO data. And NVO, it's still in its clinical stage, so it's not even in a phase 1 study yet. But they're trying to come out with a CB1 drug solution as well. But they have other studies in the pipeline, and they have to do with tumors. And some of the reason the stock soared back in February was there was positive data in regards to that aspect. It's like a $380 million company. So I have to do more digging. It's just names that came up over the weekend as I start pulling charts and looking at some of the news. Certainly looks interesting, even for a bounce play. So, to think that it rallied so much in February, at the end of January on that data that had nothing to do with their weight loss solution study, and then to see it sell off 50% after that, when it was up that high from the study in January. So to me, it almost looks like it was oversold to too far an extent. I don't think that the weight loss study was baked into the stock too much at all. So to see it get hit 50% just because of that, it just kind of looks like an opportunity. So don't be surprised if you see me add some strikes there, and I'll try and do some more due diligence so I can figure out the fundamentals, how far things are out in regards to their studies, their cash position, and cash burn rate, all that's like, those are the things I look at for biotechs. All right, so that's Corbis. Other individual names: Clear Secure, huge put volume again on Friday. It looked like I don't know if it was a condor, but thousands of contracts hit the 28s, the 29s, the 27s, the 26 October puts, and it looks like those hit the open interest. So unless those were sell to open, I have to figure out more, look into it more. So when I see a lot of option action on a name that doesn't really have too much liquidity in regards to its volume, then I start thinking, and Clear had a huge block at the end of the day too. I don't know if that was rebalancing. I think it got added to the small cap, the small cap 600 index, something like that. So I don't know if that was some of the repositioning, but still like this one, 34. Once that breaks 34 into the 36 handle, but there's certainly some shenanigans being played with these, with the high short name. People are trying to position themselves either to protect themselves or to play for more downside. So I'll definitely have to look at more into that, but certainly interesting hitting that tape. It hit it on Tuesday as well, Monday or Tuesday, huge contracts at the end of the day, similar. The Iron Condor or whatever the hit late in the afternoon on Friday as well. All right, so that's Clear Secure. Not much here to talk about. Redfin all the way up into the 14s Friday, then back into the 12s before closing at 1338. Still like this one for upside. If you pull out the daily chart, it kind of tunes out the noise of its swings. When you kind of stinks to see it reverse gains every day, or pretty much all last week. It seemed like it wanted to break out and then found some pressure. But then you pull it back and it tunes out the noise when you look at the daily chart and sometimes even the weekly chart. So still like this one for 15 plus, and then 1760 or so is the next handle. And then last but not least is Roku. Roku disappointing. Couldn't really find a rally after the big move on Thursday, and then Friday, and just no follow through. Still think it breaks into an $80 handle. It's got to happen this week. Obviously, have the calls, but I'll be patient. Probably needs another kick, maybe another analyst upgrade. I think that's it. I'm trying to think of some of the other things. PC data. That's it, folks. Let's have a great start to the week. Hopefully, we have some fun this week. I'll be back. Rock and roll.